Hey everybody, this is Miss Ladd again, and I'm going to show you a quick thing about how to use the Wacom tablet. So let me go ahead and pull my bar over here. And this little W here is our Wacom Center. So you should see, when you click on that, a window that looks like this. And it's just basically letting you know that, yes, the Wacom tablet is available. And in fact, if I start using the Wacom tablet, you can see that my mouse is moving, and I'm using the Wacom tablet right now. This is using the little stylus. For the most part, unless you're on multiple screens like I am, your top left is going to be the top left on the tablet, and your bottom right, sorry, I kind of have to be careful here, is going to be the bottom right of your screen. Like I said, if you're on multiple screens like I am, that's probably going to vary, but you shouldn't have to worry about that. All right, so let's go ahead and minimize this. So here I am in Photopea. I'm gonna do half of this in Photopea and half of this in Photoshop. Either way, it should work pretty much the same. So I have 4 artboards here. One is a trace artboard. So see this layer that says use pen here? The image underneath is locked. So, so we won't change that any. We just want to trace on top of it. That's the same for the color layer, and the same for the lettering layer, and the same for the pressure layer. And I'll show you how each of those work in just a moment. So I'm going to do the first two, just kind of gives you a basic idea of what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this color. I'll just grab like I like purple, you know that. I'll just make a nice pretty purple color, say okay. And I'm going to use the brush tool, so that's B for brush. I'm also going to zoom in, so I'm going to hit the Option key and zoom in. I'm doing this with my regular mouse at the moment. Space bar, pull that over. So I can like use my paintbrush to do these things. Now I've switched over to the stylus, and you know, I have to kind of find where my arrow is. There it is. So if I click here, layer's not L. Oh, because I'm on the wrong layer. Let's make sure we're on the right layer. So that would be the use pen here button. Okay, so I can just go in here. And you can see it's not like super easy, right? I'm going to go ahead and hit Command Z. If I want straight lines are actually, we can do something like this where we go click. And I think if we hold Shift, oops. Yeah. So if I click here again and hold Shift, I can make some pretty straight lines. This is just, like I said, it's mostly practice for you to kind of get into and hit those targets, right? So I'm holding Shift and clicking with just a press of the mouse button, or not even a press of the mouse button, just a tap with the mouse, sorry. So I can do all of these pretty well. Now this is going to be harder, right? I'm going to suck at this. It's a matter of like this hand-eye coordination between like your hand on the tablet versus like what's going on with your eye. Command Z. Maybe I should try this the other direction, because, you know, sometimes it's easier to draw one way than another. Nope, that's not going to work out. But you get the idea. So, you know, I'm not expecting perfection. I just kind of want you to get in here and play around with this tool. And my space on my board is a lot smaller than yours will be, primarily because I have 3 screens. So I have to work within a third of the tablet, because my bottom right is way on the other screen. So it's a little bit harder here. But as you can see, I'm practicing. I'm getting a little bit better, and a little bit better. So I am slowing down a bit so that I can be a little more precise. And God, that sucks. But that's part of the challenge of using the Wacom tablet. It will be useful, more useful later, I promise. Especially like when we're getting in and we're erasing things. So let's go ahead and I'm going to zoom out to the lettering. So like over here, lettering actually. We're going to use the pen tool there. And so that means I got to come over here, find my arrow. There we are. And I can just like, you know, start working on like the letter A, for example. A, B, right? C. And you might be better at this, right? I'm kind of, like I said, I'm used to doing things a little bit differently. But that should, you know, just kind of get in here and try to use the lines like you would when you're like writing on one of these types of things. So that's what I'm going to show you in Photopea. Actually, there's one more thing I want to show you in Photopea, and that is where to handle the brushes. So there is this palette here, and we can do tip dynamics, scatter. Where's the shape dynamics? Size, shape, spacing. If I do tip dynamics, control off, I'm going to say pen pressure. So this is very similar to how we do it in Photoshop. It should let me do a brush. Nope, it's not letting me. If I make it thick, lighten it up. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. So that pressure is what makes this thick versus light. See, the thing of it is like I'm not seeing the preview like I would in Photoshop. And so that's the only thing that's concerning me right now. You'll see that in Photoshop itself. But either way, let's go ahead and put that back. Blend mode 15, hard. Okay, let's take a look at this little setting right here. Just current tool. Okay, current tool is the brush. Blend mode, flow, smooth. Okay. So this should allow us to exert pen pressure. So you can see it does get a little bit bigger and smaller, kind of like I was. Maybe I needed to redo that brush to be more minimal diameter. Like 10%, maybe 11. Let's do that. I want to make sure that you guys are able to do this in Photopea as well. So that's kind of part of why I'm here. So I'm going super light. Okay. And then I'm going super heavy. Mind you, my brush is only 15 pixels. So that might be part of my issue. I can make it bigger, obviously. I can make it softer. Here's some different brush sizes. Types, 76. Let's see if the brush dynamics stayed on. No, it did not. So pen pressure. So you can see it more dramatically in a larger brush. So that just kind of lets you know how that works. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close this and then show you what it looks like in Photoshop. All right, so there's my Photoshop. So I'll just open the downloaded file that I had earlier. So Where is there? There it is. Wacom tablet, practice PSD. Hit open. Again, here's my 4 artboards. So trace, lettering, color, pressure. I really kind of want to get into the pressure area here. So we'll just go ahead and focus on that for a moment. All right, so B for brush. It says, hey, don't use this layer because I'm probably clicked on this layer. Or actually, I'm clicked on the group, but not the layer itself. So here we go. I want to use a different color, so let's go ahead and use that to make it stand out. Let me grab the color picker. We can use red, that's fine. Say okay. And I want to double check my shape dynamics, right? So up here, we've got normal, opacity, smoothing, all these good things. And I want to go to my brush settings. So here's the brush settings. And you can see immediately there's the preview of the current brush that I have. If I need to like change that to some other brush, you know, I can. There's a number of different brushes here. If I click and I scroll down, look at all the different brushes that Photoshop provides for me. Right now, I'll just stick with this brush. What we're going to do here is just kind of like click into these areas. Command C. I think I want to make my brush bigger, so I'll just use the brackets key to make it a little bit bigger. And I just want to hit these targets. And you can see like we've got a little softness. Oh, the opacity on that's 30%. I want to increase this to 100%. So let's just do that. Yeah. All right. So I just want to be able to practice kind of getting to the target, right? And you can see like we've got a pressurized thing here. So I might have to like hit it more than once or, you know, just kind of get in there, right? And, you know, this is really just kind of about practicing. You know, let's see if my hand-eye coordination has gotten any better on the circle. Not great. Right? So here I want to like kind of start out light and then get thicker and thicker and like that, right? So here's like a moderately and then really hard. Right? So that's how that works. And if we need to, like, this line looks pretty, you know, similar all the way around, right? I can either practice my pressure on this. So let's go ahead and make my brush a little bit smaller. I'm going to use the brackets key again to kind of make it smaller. I think since I'm still in kind of pressure sensitive mode, I may want it a little bit thicker so that I can kind of come in here and do this. Right. And I'm just going to get in here and do my best. That's, you know, that's all that really matters, is that I want you guys to kind of get in here, get a feel for the brush and, you know, see how that works for you. That's pretty much all we're going to do for this thing right now. I just want you to go through each item and play around with it. So like, you know, if I want to color in her eyes, oh, I need to do that on a different layer. Hold on a sec. So that would be like the witch, right? I can just go in here and maybe come in here and color. If I need to, I can zoom in, right? Option scroll. And this is just me using the regular mouse to do that. Here I am back with the stylus. So I can kind of like get in here. And I know this is like covering up the eye, right? We can, oops, Command C. There it goes. We can lower the opacity of either the layer, or we can lower the opacity of the brush. So see where it says opacity up here? If I like lower that opacity to something like 14, 15, let's change the color, right? We can change that to like this sort of greenish color. Say okay. And I can like start kind of coloring in her skin. And then if I go over it again, it gets darker and more opaque. And again, darker and more opaque, etc., etc. So if I lift up the pen, right, you can see that I've added additional opacity to this item. I just kind of want you to get in here and play around with stuff and, you know, see about coloring this witch. You know, like I said before, we can also lower the opacity of the layer. So here's the layer, right? We can lower the opacity of that. So you can see what that does, how that kind of lets you still see underneath. And the other nice thing about like these, the Wacom tablet, is you can use like the eraser, and later on when we get into masking, here's the bracket key. When we get into masking, we can, so see how it can be a little more precise here, right? If I need to, I can like lighten my pressure, and be even more refined. So I kind of go back and forth between these two things, right? I can go back to the brush, go back to the eraser, or when you're masking, using the letter X to change colors, for example, is beneficial, because masking, when you do masking, as I'll show you in another demo, black conceals, white reveals. Since you're not erasing, you're not getting rid of any sort of pixels that already exist. So it's easy to bring back that data, that information. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you find this tutorial informative, and I will see you in class. Happy rendering, everyone.